Welcome everyone. This is our Anti-Bullying Week practice sharing event. I'm Jess. I am Programme Lead here at the Anti-Bullying Alliance, and I am joined by my colleague and project officer, Miri. I'm really excited that today we've got with us some of our United Against Bullying Plus schools. They're going to be speaking to you this afternoon. You don't need to listen to my voice, you're going to be listening to them. But before you do, I have got a few things to say. So first of all, just to explain really that United Against Bullying Plus is our whole school anti-bullying pilot programme. It's funded by the Education Endowment Foundation and the Youth Endowment Fund, and it's delivered by us at the Anti-Bullying Alliance. And so we've been working with 16 secondary schools for the last sort of 18 months or so, supporting them in developing anti-bullying practice, implementing new initiatives, and thinking about prevention and response to bullying in their settings. We've also partnered with Kidscape for this programme, and they've been working with the schools too, delivering workshops to pupils. You can find out more about what this programme looks like on our website. But importantly, with us here today, we've got 4 out of our 16 schools. We have 2 schools who are based in Bristol. We've got Oasis Academy Brightstowe and Bedminster Downs School. Welcome to both of you. We also have Dame Alice Owens School, who are based in Hertfordshire. Welcome, Dame Alice Owens. And finally, we have Our Lady and St Chad Catholic Academy, who are based in Wolverhampton. So welcome to you as well. All of these schools have been working hard on their anti-bullying practices, and we wanted to give them a chance to share what they've been up to and show us some of the great examples of anti-bullying practices that are going on in schools across the country. So an opportunity as well to give you, the audience, ideas and inspiration to take back into your own schools and settings. Please note we are recording this session, and the recording will be shared in a follow-up email and will be posted onto our website as well. Now, this afternoon we're going to be broken into 2 main parts. First, we're going to hear briefly from each of our schools who have brought along some of their pupils, as you can see, to talk a little bit about some of the anti-bullying initiatives that have been happening in their schools. And then following that, we'll move on to a short panel discussion with our school staff and pupils who will be answering a couple of questions based around the theme of this year's Anti-Bullying Week, which is Choose Respect. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, first we're going to hear from Ben and his pupil from Bedminster Downs School in Bristol. I'll let you introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about some of the activities that's been happening in your school. So over to you, Ben, and I think it's Gabby.
Yeah, hi folks. My name is Ben Wills. I'm one of the assistant head teachers at Bedminster Downs School in South Bristol. This is Gabby. Gabby is my most articulate student. She's very good at talking, so we're going to have her just talk through some of the slides today. Jess, do you have this? Oh, there we go. It's like magic. There we go. Amazing. I hope everyone can see that. So just a little bit of context around our school. Secondary school in South Bristol, which serves a mixed community, I think it's fair to say, but it does serve some areas of extremely high deprivation. So one of the wards that the school serves has got, I think, it's the bottom 0.02% of adult university rates in the country. So there are some quite significant areas of deprivation in South Bristol. But as I say, our school kind of serves a mixture of students, really. We have got nearly, well, I think it's exactly 40% pupil premium now, but that is growing. So there is the year 7 students that we just had as an intake are a much higher rate of PP than other year groups.
A small percent of our students here at Bedminster Down are EAL. However, this percentage continues to rise due to asylum seekers moving into hotels in central Bristol. All of these students are varying in different levels of English speaking. Our school helps these students with their development of the English language so that they feel more confident and fluent in speaking the language. From a student's perspective who has been in this school since 2020, it's very clear to see how far our school has come. In the earlier years, the school felt like a very chaotic and unorganized place, mainly due to the fact that we had roughly different head teachers come and go, all setting different rules and regulations, which eventually became quite confusing for the whole student body. However, in the last 2 years, our schools felt incredibly more structured and organized, creating a much more efficient learning environment.
It's just worth saying, folks, that the lights in the room automatically went off, so Gabby was plunged into darkness there shortly. Yeah, a lot of the context there is after COVID, there was a lot of instability in the school, essentially. Could we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Lovely. Right. So the intended outcome of us being in the United Anti-Bullying Plus programme. So ultimately, it's something that we've been doing for about 18 months now. And the intended outcomes are really to make sure every single stakeholder in the school understands the definition of bullying. Now, we have completely copied the Anti-Bullying Alliance version of bullying definition, which I think was a very sensible thing to do. It has got 4 key bullet points, which you can see on the website, which is essentially repeated, deliberate, hurtful with a power imbalance. And that is really broadly understood with our student body now. Students have even started to write about power imbalance in English assignments and stuff like that. So they've clearly been well drilled with that. There's no point having a policy that is 15 pages long that nobody really understands or uses. So it's about having policies that are easy to understand and implement. And the big thing, which we'll talk about in a bit of detail in a moment, is improving the quality of reporting and recording of bullying. That's probably the one definitive change that the school made that has allowed us to get to grips with any bullying that takes place in the school much more effectively. What that also has allowed us to do is to understand, to work and resolve the kind of nuanced issues faced by our school. So a moment ago, Gabby spoke about EAL students, and actually there are some nuanced issues around respect of EAL students in the school, which we only found out because of the quality of our recording and our reporting now of bullying. And the only other thing I'd like to add on this one is just our staff hear about anti-bullying all the time. There are conversations around anti-bullying at least every day in the school. It's constantly spoken about. It's part of a daily meeting. Students hear about it on a regular basis. It's not just something that you talk about in anti-bullying week and then it falls off the face of the earth for the rest of the year. It always has to remain as a high-profile thing. Next slide, please. Right, Gabby, this is you, isn't it?
Yep. Since our school has introduced the new bullying QR code, the school seems to have become a much friendlier place. Students aren't getting nervous about having to talk to teachers about issues they are facing anymore. People are also feeling better that they now have the ability to report issues in an anonymous way, as a lot of students were scared to report a problem as they thought that bad impacts would happen based on other students. However, people are now also feeling safe knowing that if something bad were to happen, there is a fast and efficient way of reporting it. It is really nice to see how much our school care about its students and eliminating bullying as a whole by trying many different ways to find the best bullying repellent.
So I think Gabby's just kind of summed that up beautifully, but essentially we've introduced 3 different methods of reporting bullying, either face-to-face, via a written form, or via this QR code that we have displayed all around our school. But ultimately, everything ends up getting funneled through the QR code, and that's the thing that 99.9% of reports come as child scanning that QR code and completing it either at home or whatever. I was slightly skeptical about it to start off with, but it's absolutely been the biggest game changer for our school, just in terms of data collection, etc. So if you could ping over to the next slide, please, that would be wonderful. So it's really, really easy now for anybody in the school population, actually a member of the public even could use this to report perceived bullying. And it all gets pulled through to a centralized spreadsheet that I have access to, and we get reports at 10 o'clock at night from a parent who's had a difficult conversation with their child that evening, maybe about them being upset in school, and we get reports kind of all through the day as well. It's much easier for students to act positively as defenders for their peers with this tool. So we have had some anonymous reporting whereby a child who's clearly a bit nervous about it said, this is an anonymous report, however, such and such in year 8 is being bullied by so and so, and this is what's happening, this is where it's happening. So it's been a really kind of useful thing for students. It also means that there is a significantly higher level of accountability for staff, but because everybody or every member of my pastoral team has access to this bullying tracker and can see which cases have been completed, which are still in progress, which maybe they need extra support with. So it does demonstrate to everybody that it's a high profile issue. And the big thing for me as a leader, it's been really helpful for this, is it's allowed me to notice patterns and themes within our school really, really quickly. So, for example, one of the things that you can see quite quickly is if a group of children or a child gets reported for perceived bullying by multiple children in a short period of time, for example, or if one child or a group of children are being picked on a disproportionate amount of the time. And actually, there are 2 things that does. The first thing is it allows your meetings with the parents of those ringleaders to be much less emotive, because you're just talking about, actually, this is what the data tells me. And when you say your child has been reported for bullying by 4 different children in the last say 3 weeks, and 2 of those children aren't attending school currently, the emotion or the sense of denial leaves the room, and it allows you to actually engage with the problem at hand, which is the fact that this child is displaying bullying behaviours. The other thing it allows you to do is it allows you to notice patterns quickly. So, for example, we still do have, I think it's fair to say, a bit of an issue where some of the asylum seeker children are being targeted disproportionately and are reporting a disproportionate amount of the perceived bullying in the school, and that allows us to work proactively towards resolving that. And actually, if you didn't have that data, it would be incredibly difficult to do that. Last slide, I think, please. Right, I'm going to speak first, and then Gabby's going to finish off on this one. I spoke at an event on Monday where essentially I said that the United Anti-Bullying Plus programme is something that I genuinely believe every single school in the country would benefit from being involved in. And I still stand by that. It's 4 days later, I've kind of thought back to what I said, and I absolutely believe that. It is some of the best work I've done, and I've been working at the school for nearly 15 years. It's culturally led to some really strong changes that I'm really, really proud of. So I could not recommend the programme enough. Abby.
The school's approach to bullying seems to have made a huge impact on the rate of bullying that we have here. We often have assemblies and tutor activities to express the zero tolerance that our school has towards bullying. This has resulted in our school becoming a much happier and friendlier environment for all the students. Every child now feels so much safer when coming to school, as they are no longer fearful of being bullied and having the bully get away with no consequence. I'm proud to say that our school has come so far. It is now a much better and positive learning environment for all the students that study here.
And there you go. That is us. Thank you, Jess.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Gabby and Ben. That was brilliant. And well done for navigating being plunged into darkness halfway through as well. Who did that with coolness? That was brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really, really useful information. We do now unfortunately have to say goodbye to Ben and Gabby. I know you've got to rush off to parents' evening, but you've given your answers for our discussion panel, so I'll be sharing those on your behalf later. Thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us. To those of you watching and listening, thanks, Ben. Don't forget, we do have a Q&A. So if you do want to ask any questions, please do send in those questions as you're listening to these school presentations, and hopefully we'll have time to answer those a bit later. But I'm now going to pass over to Paul and his pupils at Our Lady in St Chad Catholic Academy, who are going to be talking about an anti-bullying activity that they've been working on this week. So take it away.
Have you got the slides, Jess?
There we go.
Brilliant. That's it. Very good. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, I'm Paul Taylor. I'm one of the assistant principals here in charge of anti-bullying practices, and I'm joined by some of our peer mentors who've been helping me this week. Do you want to say hello? Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Dorf. Hi, I'm Gracie. Hi, I'm Lily.
Hi, I'm Tanisha.
Yeah, so they've been helping us with Anti-Bullying Week this week, and they'll tell you a little bit more about what they do as leaders in a short while. We've joined this project to sort of try and we've been doing. We think we've got quite a good setup, a good regular setup for anti-bullying practice, and we've been working on things year on year and trying to make it a little bit better. But probably one of the gaps we've noticed from doing the audits and being part of the United States Bullying Plus program is that we do a lot during Anti-Bullying Week and in and around it, but we don't always have stuff ready for if there's a particular group that needs some intervention. And we also want to try and sort of use our leaders. Our leaders are fantastic in school. We have lots of different leaders, and it'd be nice if we can use them to have an impact on some of our family of schools. We're part of quite a big family. So we think they might like it. They always do like it when our leaders deliver for them. So we come up with a bit of a project. It's been quite a while in the making, but we've got it going this year. And I'll hand over. I think Gracie's going to introduce that project, and they're going to tell you about what we've done today.
We're peer mentors at Our Lady in St Chad's Catholic Academy, Wolverhampton. We are using dodgeball to engage students in learning about types of bullying behaviours. We're going to tell you a bit about our school. We have 1,200 students, including the sixth form. Our Catholic values are very important to us, and we have lots of types of leaders, including peer mentors, sports leaders, anti-bullying ambassadors, and language leaders. We have lots of pastoral support, and we also have we are also a specialist sports school.
Our product was based on dodgeball. This was created by the previous anti-bullying ambassadors. We played dodgeball to engage the students. All peer mentors lead scenarios for each type of bullying behaviour. Participants need to identify the type of bullying behaviour.
We also did a practice today with Year 7 students where we read out scenarios and put forward in each corner of the room, such as verbal, physical, indirect, and not bullying. We also played dodgeball to make it fun.
So I think if you move on to the next couple of slides, there's a few examples of what we used. So we had some big signs. The peer mentors were all in charge of a particular type of bullying. And we did like an active sort of challenge to start with. We read out the definition of each of them and they had to go and find the type of bullying that the definition related to. So we had them on big A3 sheets held up around and about. And once we'd sort of taught them about the different types of bullying that existed, we then read through some scenarios, which if you click on the next slide, please. If you click on the next one, I think there's an example. That's one of the definitions. And then we kind of came up with a bit of a drama style scenario, which the Year 7 seemed to like. They understood it. And we were trying to get that idea across that bullying is repetitive, intentional practice, and talking to about the imbalance of power as well. So they seemed to get it quite good. And then in between every scenario, they got to play dodgeball. So we set them up in 2 teams. And of course, they liked that element and it made them really enjoy it, I think. So we asked them at the end and we discussed at the end what we thought was good about this particular little project. And Jot's going to tell you about the impact and the future actions. Next slide, please. Yep.
This was well received by Year 7 students. We plan to use this for Year 5 students from one of our family of schools. It's ready to repeat at any time and is easy to adapt using different sports or activities.
Yeah, so we think we can adapt it to all kinds. So one of the scenarios has a reference to WhatsApp groups. So we need to probably just run that by the primary school first to see if they want us to talk about WhatsApp groups to Year 5 students or not. But again, the scenarios are really easy to adapt and we can change it based on the age. But we can also change it based on sports as well. So if we find later on in the year that we have a group of students that are being a bit unkind to each other and they love football, then it'd be very, very easy to just change this all to football, exactly the same scenarios, but change the word dodgeball to football, and we can deliver it that way. So it was really good. It's the first time we've done it today. We tested it with the Year 7s. They were very positive about it. They enjoyed it and they really engaged well and understood the scenario. So yeah, we're quite excited that we've got something that works and we can use it anytime.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone from Our Lady in St. Ad, for sharing that. I love how practical that is. And like you said, really adaptable to other sports, to other year groups. Really brilliant. Thank you so much. I am now going to pass on to Rhiannon and her pupils from Oasis Academy Brightstowe in Bristol to share the anti-bullying practice that they have been working on. So over to you.
Oh, thanks very much, Jess. If you could just pop the slides up, I'd be really grateful. Hi, my name's Rhiannon and I've got with me Kavya and Danielle and myself here. I'm not sure why Kavya's name is just on the slide there. It should be myself and Danielle. I'm not sure if they're coming up in an animation in a minute, Jess. You never know. If you could go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. Oh, there you go. It's animated. I didn't even know. So we like to talk about the big piece of work that we've done since we've been working with United Against Bullying, which is understanding relational conflict. We are a secondary school just outside of Bristol city centre in Shirehampton. Very similar context to the one described by Ben at Bedminster Down. We've got over 52% of our pupils are pupil premium. And what we were really interested in exploring with our pupils through the work that we've been doing with you is understanding the difference between bullying behaviours and relational conflict. And I think it's really important that children understand that that the elements of relational conflict are quite normal in terms of how we grow up as young people, and learning to manage that is really important, and learning how to repair and make sure that friendships are healthy are really important elements of growing up as a young person. We started, we applied to come on this program because we wanted to make every single experience of every child in our school better every single day. And I think the more we can learn about ourselves as people, and the more we can help each other to interact with each other in kind and really, positive ways, then that is going to impact on the sort of the journey through school that every single child takes. If you could do the next slide, please, Jess. Thank you. So we decided to actually, from the training we had from the Anti-Bullying Alliance, we took that training and we devolved that to our students. So we talked to them about relational conflict. We talked to them about the roles in bullying behaviour. We looked at the definitions, and we also took your definition of bullying and kind of rolled that out across our school. We also decided to actually bring relational conflict as a category into our CPOMS reporting, so that staff could identify the difference between bullying behaviour and relational conflict. We then track those patterns every half term, and we look at whether relational conflict is in fact developing into bullying, or whether actually we've resolved those issues and those friendships are repaired and those children have moved on to sort of pastures new. Next slide, please. We use a tracker to keep sort of tabs on this, and we break down the data into relational conflict, category 2 and category 3 bullying behaviours, and then we also look at our subgroups. So it's really important if we find that one of our groups of children in school needs particular help. We did a particular project with our SEND children last year, looking at these behaviours, and that was really successful and helped those children to have a voice. It's really important that pupil voice features in this as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what do we do next? So we collect the data, we break down the themes, and then we respond. So last year, every half term, we had an assembly purely based on, for every year group, what the data from that year group was telling us. We were really open with the children. In every assembly, we said, this assembly is driven by the data that you're telling us, the reports you're giving us, the things you're saying to us, the data we're collecting. This is what we're hearing, and this is how we're going to respond to it as a team. This is what we're going to do together to make that situation better. Thank you, Jess. So we build these data-driven assemblies, and we look at them every half term. We share with the pupils that they're driven by data. We operate a you said, we did model. So we go out and we collect pupil voice around the theme that year group is presenting to us. And then we reference the different themes that are coming up in the year group. So it could be relational conflict. It might be physical contact. It might be, we did a whole piece of work last year around how we speak to each other and how we create really positive environments through language. So that's been a really useful way of bringing that work out to the pupils and saying, this is what you told us, your voice told us this, and this is how we're going to respond. Thank you. So our impact has been that we've really reduced the relational incidence of relational conflict last year between half term 2 and half term 6. There's a significant decrease. We have a very low percentage of pupils reporting category 2 and category 3 incidents here at school, but that's despite our reporting culture being really strong. We have a lot of reports, but that's normally about relational conflict or that kind of behaviour that we can work with immediately, resolve, and those children can move on. We've got an increased awareness since we've been on the programme of how we treat each other, and specifically around our community behaviours, which has been a really, really strong piece of progress for us. And pupil voice is evidenced into us as a school, and I'm sure the young people will talk about this in a second, that we actually are confident on the difference between relational conflict and bullying behaviour. And as young people, we can identify when those relational conflict has tipped into that bullying behaviour, when there is an imbalance of power, when it is repeated, when it is intentional. And that's been a really important change in the culture of our academy. Thank you for the next slide. And now I'm going to hand over to Danielle and Kavya to speak about the work we've been doing this week in Anti-Bullying Week.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about what we at Brightstowe are going to do and are doing with Anti-Bullying Week. Sorry, everyone. Okay. For Anti-Bullying Week, we're doing a stall, which we call Check-in and Chat. For Check-in and Chat, students can come up with to other students. It is led by students. So we have different scenarios in Check-in and Chat. Check-in and Chat entails prefects and student council members, we give them different scenarios where they give us their responses to what they do in those situations. In those situations, we get different responses, different approaches, and to correct and build the right ways to how we respond to these situations. In Brightstowe, we're not just building up the right responses, but also the right approaches to these situations if they happen around the academy. Under the check-in and chat stalls, we have the shower cards, which Kavya is going to talk more about.
Thank you, Dan. So under the check-in and chat stalls, we had these little slips of paper that the Year 10 prefects were giving out, and they're called shout-out cards. And basically, what these were little slips where you could write a note to either a pupil or a staff member at Brightstowe in appreciation for them. And we've had about 150 cards received in the last 4 days alone. And it's such a wonderful idea because students were able to take the time to appreciate the people at Brightstowe that support us every day in the academy and continually drive us to do better. And also, it just makes someone's day so much better when they've received a card of appreciation. Just to know that the people around our school are recognizing them for it. And that really just boosts the positive environment around our campus. So it's been a really successful sort of program for us. And then I'm going to pass it on to Daniel to talk.
Also around Brightstowe, we have posters which we call self-referral forms. The self-referral forms have QR codes under them which you can scan, which takes you to a Microsoft form where you can report incidents that have took place in the academy, and this information gets sent to our safeguarding team, SLT members, and many other people around the academy, where they can take action to prevent it from happening again, solve and resolve the situation that took place, and make sure the recipient of the incident and those involved are being dealt with thoroughly. And the posters are all around the academy, then every classroom, every office, and all around the walls in the academy. So reporting incidents that take place could be very fast and have quick responses.
I'm now going to talk about this new feature that we've added called the Respect in Action button. And it's a category to award students class chart points. And basically what this means is that teachers could award students class chart points under the name of Respect in Action whenever they saw a student perform an action of respect. And what this does is students have been more recognized for their contributions, and it motivates them to do better. And it's really the little things of respect that we do around Brightstowe that adds to everyone's day, and it improves our relationships here at Brightstowe. And so far, it's been very successful once again, and we've had 888 points given out in just 4 days alone, which is really wonderful to hear, considering that we can see that a lot of students are being recognized for the very little things that they're doing.
Thanks, Jess. I think we just got one thing to finish on, which is just something we'd like to read from a shout out card. So this is one of our shout out cards. I sort of cover the name with my pen. There we go. That's one of our shout out cards there. People have been filling in this week. This is to a teacher, and it says, "Thank you for everything you've done for me. You've made me more confident in my speaking and how I am around the academy." It's just a lovely thing to finish on. So that's what the kind of things that people have been sharing this week at Oasis Academy Brightstowe.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. So lovely to see so much respect themed bits and bobs going on in your school. And that's such a good idea. I love that. Brilliant. I love the idea of those data-driven assemblies as well. What a good idea, making it relevant to your pupils. And thank you so much to you and your pupils for sharing that. That was brilliant. So our fourth and final speaker for the practice sharing section of this event is Erin and her pupils from Dame Alice Owen School in Hertfordshire. So over to you now to share what's been going on in your school.
Hi Jess, hi to the other schools. My name's Erin, I'm the anti-bullying lead at Dame Alice Owens, and so I've taken this role on last year. We worked together with the It's Just Banter handle, and then continued this year with the Choose Respect. And I think, as you'll hear from the students, we've done quite a lot. We were just really impressed with all the other schools and what they've done. But I think, we're all doing the same thing, which is fantastic to see nationally. So I'll just tell you about the school, if you wouldn't mind. That's it. So our school background, we're a mixed, partially selective, comprehensive school in Hertfordshire. We've got 1,466 on roll currently. Very high performing academic school with extremely large campus of 34 acres. The school was founded in 1613 in Islington. We've got a very diverse community. I've worked here for 24 years, and I've seen the change in the school in a very positive way. So the diversity within the community, students travel up to an hour sometimes to get to the school. And it's lovely to see everyone. The community is building, it's a very, very strong community and very supportive. So we joined the Anti-Bullying Alliance programme in order to support any new initiatives that were given to us. We also had a new deputy head in Vicky Blackburn joined us. So she was very, very key. Her focus was really in developing the anti-bullying programme with us. All the teachers are on board, really, really supportive. I found, especially this week, haven't we, with that, form tutors have been supporting all our students, and staff are really keen to do what they can in their lessons. The main aim for us was to have a consistent approach to the anti-bullying across the students and staff. We can hear, chats in the corridors and saying how lovely, things have worked in their lessons. So we provided some extracurricular activities at lunchtimes, which the students will talk to you about, but also some interlesson anti-bullying activities to try and link it in with their subjects. We have had a full strategic and operational review of anti-bullying work at all levels, and we've empowered the students to report and upstand. So they're very vocal. I can hear it even in my lessons. If there's got a bit of banter going on, the students are very keen to stand up and correct somebody or pull them up if something is not acceptable to them. We have introduced student leaders at Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 to support the wider school community. And we have the sixth form leaders as well. So it's filtering all the way down through all the key stages. And all staff have had anti-bullying training on our inset days. So the main aim is to have the school where everyone knows what bullying is and calls it out. And when they see it, so we can educate against harmful behaviours, but also harmful words. So one of our most influential things we have done in the school is to introduce an anti-bullying captain as a leadership role in every form. So we have 2 anti-bullying captains in every form, and they are visible in school by wearing the anti-bullying badge, which you can see at the bottom there of that slide. The captains have worked on loads of initiatives, and in year 1 of the ABA programme, they were supported by BUPA to produce an anti-bullying video that challenged the power of language and banter that they scripted. So we'll see that next. The video was fabulous. It was really amazingly received by, parents, staff and students. We showed it across the school, and it really reflected on actions and like I said earlier on, especially the language that shows, that the tiniest thing can make a difference to students. But this year with the Choose Respect, I think that video could also, come into that display of the continuation of making sure that we're supporting our students and staff. I do have the video now. If that link doesn't work, I can share my screen with you.
Let's go. You're so special. It's just a joke.
You'd be so much prettier if you straightened your hair. She needs to learn about banter. just a comment. What's wrong? You're anorexic or something? I didn't mean it like that.
1 in 4 young people say they are bullied a lot or always.
6% experience bullying every day.
Being bullied is proven to have a long-term impact on your mental and physical health.
It doesn't matter whether you meant it or you didn't, it still hurts.
Okay, so do you want to, I'm going to hand over to the students now. Can you see that okay? Perfect. Okay, so you can talk about the impact. Do you want to go, Heather? Do you want to introduce? So this is Heather, sorry, Heather,
Hi.
Nico and Gracie.
So what we do try and do in Dame Alice Owens is we're trying to get more people included in if they see someone being bullied, because many people are afraid like, oh, it's just not going to work out. We're trying to incorporate more people, like anonymous tips as well, which is what we do in pastoral. Someone can just come up and tell them and it can be sorted out, or they can fill a form if they don't want to talk to anyone. And we're really trying to make sure that everyone can share stories of like how they are being affected by other people in our school. For example, we had an assembly about someone reaching out saying about maybe an incident happening and how like we should fix it, which is like really what we try and do. But yeah, most students can just say anything about it, and we're really open actually.
And then we're moving, yeah. Do you want to take over?
Okay. So there's a lot of restorative practice used at school. So we have an initiative called Learning for Life, which we do every Wednesday morning. Instead of a form time, we have a little bit of a longer form time, and instead we learn about, each week we'll have a different topic linked to either mental health or anti-bullying, for example, to do with this. So at the moment it's been about anti-bullying because of anti-bullying week, and we've been learning all about bystanders, upstanders, and how to like progress through the challenges there could be to do with bullying, but how to get past it, and it's not always as bad as it can seem. So we work a lot on not just the issue but the restoring of it afterwards, which I think is different to others at our school, but than other schools, but really good.
Okay, can we have the next slide, please? That's good, thank you. Got the next slide, thank you. Okay, so what we've focused on really is, you know, to have clear objectives and to use the student voice. So as we've got 2 anti-bullying captains per form, I think they and you know that we've got a huge anti-bullying team. I think it numbered 68. I think I was tasked with working with to create some assemblies for this week, and it was fantastic. So there's so many people wanted to be involved in the assemblies. We had different teams for different year groups, and it worked out really well. They made their own role plays and their videos, in which we uploaded, and the students really received that so positively. The parents are also really supportive. So we were lucky enough to have been gifted the film crew from Bupa, which is the one that I'll share with you, Jess, from one of the parents who loved the work that we were doing, because she has children in the school, or had. Getting all the staff involved, not just teaching staff. We've got, you know, all the grounds people, we've got the kitchen staff, we've got the cleaners. You know, they're all very aware because we've got so many displays up around the school. And then also, I think as Nico was saying, we have the eyes and ears of the students on the ground. So again, the upstanders standing up to what they believe should be the practice, rather than standing by and not challenging. And then the SLT are also very supportive of the initiatives that we are conveying to the wider school community. I think
very much. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
So, do you want to say, Gracie?
So, this week we have a lot of things for anti-bullying week, and we have had bookmark and bracelet selling, and as well as a lunchtime
That's
movie.
the charity. That's to go to the Anti-Bullying Alliance.
And we have a film club at lunchtime to watch films about bullying
Acceptance.
and acceptance. And we have we have a badminton game, which is staff versus students.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, which will be
it's actually a bit of fun.
very fun.
Yeah.
But it's all an initiative to all about the anti-bullying. So yeah, even though we're incorporating fun bits into it, like films and like sport, it's all based around that same idea of the anti-bullying.
Oh, fantastic. Sounds like you're having a good anti-bullying week then.
Yeah, it's been great.
Dame Alice. Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Again, just so good to hear all of the fantastic stuff that's happening across all of our United Against Bullying Plus schools. And I think that hopefully really, really helpful for others to hear that and kind of steal some ideas and think of things that you can do as an audience listening to improve and develop any approaches in anti-bullying that you have in your own schools and settings. So hopefully that's just been really useful to listen. Unfortunately, we're running out a little bit behind and I don't want to lose time for our discussion panel. So if you had any questions that you wanted to ask, please do pop them in the chat and we will maybe follow up with our schools and we can post those online later. But I wanted to move on to our Respect panel. We've got 15 minutes. So again, time to hear from our schools and ask these questions. But this time we've got a couple of questions about this year's Anti-Bullying Week theme, which is all around choosing respect. And our first question is, how can pupils be encouraged to choose respect in schools? I wonder if I can go to Our Lady in St Chad Catholic Academy first for this one. So how can pupils be encouraged to choose respect in schools? Any thoughts from Our Lady in St Chad?
Go on, Gracie.
We think you should treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely. Very good advice. Anything to add from Dame Alice?
We could do something maybe as like something that's more fun, so like a workshop or a game. So maybe, have you heard of Pass It Forward, which is what we focused on in the past last year, I think, and we made like a bingo card that there were different things that you could do, and if you did it, you cross it off and you give it to the person if someone was kind to you or you feel they did something that was respectful, you cross it off and give it to them as like a gesture, and then they all add up until the cards are full, which was a really good way of like developing the idea of respect around our school.
That's great. It gives an incentive as well. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Anything else from Oasis Academy Brightstowe you wanted to add? How can pupils be encouraged to choose respect in schools?
The idea of using shout out cards is a lovely idea. I hope it's embraced by the other academies that are present. Also, respect is learned, not a trait that anyone has. You learn to be respectful, and teaching it through assemblies and workshops should be really encouraged around schools.
I think to add on to that, that respect is something that is learned and it's not inherent in us. It's important to understand that not everyone around you have lived in the same circumstances, and even if unkind words or actions are being presented to you, it's important to not respond back with the same unkind behavior, but to treat it with kindness, because the only way we can help other people learn to be more respectful is by teaching it to them and showing it through our own actions. So that's something I'd add in.
I think that's an excellent piece of advice. Very, very, very good advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Did anyone else have anything else to add before we move on to question 2? I did have a message from Bedminster Down in response to this. They left their answers with me, and Ben and Gabby said that they thought that making anti-bullying something that you talk about on a regular basis is really important as well. So it shouldn't be something that's only referred to once a week, a year, like in Anti-Bullying Week, but something that's discussed all year round, which I thought was a really good point from them as well. They also mentioned the importance of understanding the roles in group bullying as well, particularly the role of the assistant, reinforcer and defenders. And if you're not familiar with that, we have lots more information about that on our website, so do take a look. We've got a video that explains those roles. Okay, so importantly, excited to hear the answer to this question. What does choosing respect look like at your schools? So perhaps Brightstowe, could we go to you first? So what does choosing respect look like at your school? We already heard about your shout it out
Yeah.
cards this week.
Yeah. As for choosing respect in our school, it's recognizing the very tiny things that help us as students be more motivated to help the people around us. It could be anything from picking up papers that someone's dropped onto the floor accidentally, holding open a door for someone. It's just a very tiny things of respect that we as students show to our both our peers and our staff that really boost that positive campus environment. And the respect in action button is so incredibly useful in that scenario, because it's like a tiny appreciation for the respect that we show other people, and it's really motivated us as students to just go like the tiny bit further to help the people around us at Brightstowe. So that's that.
Jess, I know this is a pupil panel, but I'd like to say that these guys here ask me every day how I am. They always ask me how I am. How are you today, miss? And I think that is one of the nicest things that anybody can do for you in any day, in any environment that you work in, is just simply check in with you. And it's done from a place of care, it's done from a place of kindness. And I always feel when our pupils ask, you know, how are you, miss, that they really mean it. And that's really meaningful as a member of staff. And I'm really very, very grateful for that.
That's so lovely to hear. And I think you're absolutely right about those small things that we can do to show respect can actually be really powerful, can't they? I think that's something to take away from this year's anti-bullying week, is don't forget that even those small actions can have quite big impacts on people, can't they? I think we've all had those days where we just needed someone to show us a small amount of kindness, and actually maybe that person didn't realise how much of an impact it had on us. So thank you for reminding us of that. What about Our Lady in St Chad? Did we have any other things to add about what choosing respect might look like in your school? I think we might have frozen. I'm going to pass on to Dame Alice Owens. What does choosing respect look like at your school?
Well, we have to make sure that we also respect ourselves as well as respect others. And we have lots of posters around the school talking about what we think about ourselves and how we can change ourselves, whereas what other people think of us and how we can't change that. And it just really puts into perspective that you should be able to think about yourself in a positive way.
Our school motto is ready, respectful, safe. So it's sort of just embedded into all our lessons. And but kindness is respect as well. So it's simple as like a teacher would be walking down a corridor and you'd say morning or something like that. And it's just little things that we all do that is respectful.
Brilliant. Exactly. It's those little things, isn't it? Really important. And great to hear that respectful is one of your mottos. So you'll definitely be choosing respect past anti-bullying week as well, which is great to hear. Our Lady in St Chad, we missed you. I think you froze there. Did you have anything to add on what choosing respect looks like in your school?
Yeah.
In our school, choosing respect looks like treating people equally and doing random acts of kindness.
Fantastic. I mean, we're all kind of very similar, isn't it? Very similar ideas, but we can do that in such different ways. Did you have anything else to add? Sorry.
We also have our mission statement, which is together we'll emulate the love of Christ and become the people God created us to be.
Fantastic.
Yep, that's it, I think.
Brilliant. I love this. I love how many schools, I think, do have either the word respect or something that means respect, embedded in your ethos and your values, which is so important when it comes to anti-bullying approaches, having that respectful culture right in your foundations. And I can see that our schools here do that and do have that. As Dame Alice Owen said, even that word respect is in their motto. So really important. I do also want to share the answer that we had from Bedminster Down School as well when we asked them what does choosing respect look like at their school. Ben and Gabby told us that choosing respect at Bedminster Down is students recognising poor behaviours and holding each other to account for that in a positive way. Relationships between students, parents and staff are respectful and appropriate. So that was their feedback. So those were our 2 questions for our panel. Did any of our schools have anything else they wanted to add about anything they've done this week, or to ask or answer any other questions around respect before we go? I can see that we did. Oh, go on, Dame Alice Owens.
I was going to say that we have, I think we've covered everything, and I think, it's lovely to hear the other initiatives from the other schools. It's really, really refreshing to know that we're all doing everything, similarly.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see that there's a question I think that might have been directed at you guys in the chat asking about how your anti-bullying captains are selected. I wonder if you could tell us anything about that.
So actually we can volunteer for it, but if it isn't, no one volunteers, I suppose it would be random. But literally, we haven't had a problem with it. Everyone volunteers.
I think everyone wanted to be part of it. Yeah.
Once you volunteer, if there's multiple people, you do a speech and you in your form, and just say why you think what
you'd be good at it
and what you do,
what you want to do.
And then
Gracie is actually an anti-bullying captain.
Yeah.
I think you have meetings, don't you? To talk
we
about
have meetings every now and again to speak of what we could do.
Keep on top of it. Yeah. So mostly volunteers. Yeah.
Brilliant, and great to hear you have so many as well.
Yeah, so many.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. I can see another question in the chat now as well. We've got still a couple of minutes. Do you think your approach to anti-bullying for schools could work to help young people and adults in other settings? Oh, that's interesting. So, for example, to help housing associations deal with bullying in their properties to help tenants. What do we think? Any thoughts about that? Do we think that anti-bullying approaches in schools could work elsewhere? Or do you think they're limited to just schools? Any thoughts?
I think what Oasis, sorry, the boy from Oasis, I've forgotten your name, what you were saying, and the girl, you're saying it was not inherent, you have to teach respect. So I think that's really important. So something like the housing association, I think, we have to start from the ground level up. We have to start teaching. If people don't have respect, you have to, start from the bottom and really start embedding it in everything that you do.
It's in the community, not just in, you can't always teach a few people and expect it to just work. It has to be, as Miss said, embedded in lots of people in a community or in a wide area, because if it's a few people, it's not going to get out.
Yeah, we've really tried to do that. We've really tried to work on the community as a whole as well, because we understand that, exactly as your very articulate young gentleman said in the middle there, that it's got to be inside and out. It's got to be coming from both directions, and that's really, really, really important. And our respect is in our values as well. We've got 4 values here at Brightstowe that we kind of live by, and one of those is respect. But what we've been talking about this week is what is respect in action. So respect is a word, but what does it actually look like? And how do you make it respect in action? So you're actually seeing it, feeling it, doing it, and that it's in everything that we do. And we're definitely going to steal your anti-bullying captain idea. And I've just tasked these 2 lovely people with doing that. They're in year 11, so that'll be their swan song and their gift to the school. So thank you to Alice Owen School for that.
Oh, it's great to hear.
Oh, I love this. Look, we're taking things from each other already. That's the whole point of events like this. So hopefully the people watching this once it's been recorded as well will be doing the same thing and be magpieing all of these great ideas that you've been sharing this afternoon. And I think that brings us just about to the end of our lovely event. Thank you so much, all our school staff and pupils on our panel. And of course, to the rest of your schools, your staff, your pupils, who I know have been working so hard on your anti-bullying approaches. Big thank you. And like I said, I hope that those of you listening and have listened to our lovely schools today it's been insightful, that it's been useful, and hopefully you'll have lots of things that you want to take back into your own schools and settings. Like I said, this session has been recorded and we will be sharing that recording via email to those who signed up, and it will be on our website too. So if you'd like to share this with others, if you think other people would enjoy watching it, please do share that on. We do have one more day left in Anti-Bullying Week, and for us, Friday of Anti-Bullying Week is always about spreading the message that anti-bullying is not just for Anti-Bullying Week. And so hopefully that event proves just that. I think it does. So we'd love to hear your pledges tomorrow about what you will do for the following year to continue to tackle bullying and spread kindness and choose respect. So please do get involved the last day of Anti-Bullying Week. But that's all from us. So thanks so much everybody again for coming. Thanks again to our marvellous schools, and we hope you all have lovely evenings. Thanks all.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.